Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bark Night Podcast. I am your host, Patrick Bark, and I have with me once again Dan Carter.
Thank you for having me.
And so this week is episode 36. So before we get into everything, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel wherever you're watching or listening.
Yes, please do. And share around to your friends, family. Let them know what we do here and try to get the good word out.
Yeah. All right, so for the episode this week, we're gonna spend the first half of it talking about some recent actors that passed away. Primarily, we'll be talking about Val Kilmer. So we'll try and keep it a pretty upbeat episode, given the sadness of his passing, and then we'll jump into some news.
Okay. Right, and the main reason why I'm glad we're doing this is because just the roles that man played amongst us, like growing up as film fans, there's just some of the heaviest hitters that really like formed movies that I liked, like Willow, Tombstone, obviously, Heat, Top Gun. Just like those are the movies that you watched as a kid when you decided you liked movies. I know it's a dumb statement, I'm sure, but like when you decided you liked movies, those are the kind of ones you gravitated to at that point in time.
Yeah, and during that period of, he started acting in the 80s and really hit his stride during the 90s with all these movies that you were just talking about. And, he really, really, really had an impact on me when I was a kid watching movies because he just seemed like the coolest dude in the world,
Right. And he could play anything. Like those roles I mentioned, they're all different characters. Like, sometimes actors kind of not to crap on him because I like what he does, but like Jason Statham, it's the same guy over and over again, right? like Mad Madigan and Willow is way different than Doc Holliday. Like, not even the same characters at all.
Yeah, and all of those, like those big ones. So like his unbelievable roles there, like his ones everybody knows. We've got Tombstone.
Yep.
So Tombstone, he's Doc Holliday. I just watched that last week.
I did too.
After the news, and he really this is the one for me that I'll always say. I think he should have won an Oscar for this. And
at least been nominated.
He wasn't even nominated.
Yeah.
And it was because the studio didn't even push for it.
Well, Tombstone had a bit of a troubled production to start off with. There was like a director firing, and the studio didn't have a lot of faith in it. And it stinks because, like, growing up, you don't know about like the whole Academy Awards behind the scenes. The studio's got to kind of push for nominations and crap like that. You don't know that. And you hear about it as you get older. You're like, that's kind of shady and crappy. Like, you wish they would just go off the merit of the performance, but it's not always. It's not the case, sadly.
Well, when it comes to Tombstone, it seems like the studio was just so. It just seems like this movie just barely came together. You know what I mean?
And it's amazing. Watching
something on it the other day, and basically what Val Kilmer had said is he did an interview, and it was from a few years ago, probably many years ago now. I didn't even look at the date on it, but he looked pretty young. But he was like, yeah. So what happened was the director that they had got fired. Right as they were about to start filming. They might have started filming. I think it was right as they were about to. Like, they were there, they were ready, and then they fired him.
I think he might have done a few days, and then the George Costumos took over.
Yeah, and so the studio hired that guy, and he wasn't going to be there for weeks. And so Kurt Russell stepped in. Yeah. And he was like, let's make this work. And Val Kilmer was like, so Kurt Russell and I, we sat down and we just worked this movie out. We started pulling out scenes, we started adding in scenes, and we started just really digging into what this movie would be. And Val Kilmer said that Kurt Russell basically directed that movie.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
The director that has his name on it was only there for about 2 days of shooting, Val Kilmer said. So Kurt Russell never even came out with this news. And he was asked about it in an interview a few years back, and he was like, "Yeah, that is true. I swore that I told the director, as long as you're still alive, I won't talk about this,
Right.
but like after that, I'll, we'll tell the truth about what happened." Because, as when he was out there and doing his, trying to get work and everything, Kurt Russell, I think that's what it was about, was his career. Kurt Russell wasn't worried about his career. He was successful. He wasn't trying to be a director and, all that. And this probably never would have come out if Val Kilmer hadn't, detailed that whole thing. And the fact that he was there with him, like planning out the whole movie, really impressive stuff.
It's just, and it makes it almost like that. Like that movie for you and me, I'm sure, is almost like a mythic movie at this point. It's like one of our like favorites. Like I can quote that movie basically like fully, and like I actually annoyed my girlfriend when we watched it because I just kept like saying what was coming. And it's just like it's that level of movie for both of us. And
are you
the
retired too?
Exactly.
I'm in my prime.
And like it's so crazy to hear that story, like how close this was to being a disaster, and it turned out the way it did. And just because of those performances, like obviously Kurt Russell's great in it, but Val Kilmer gives the performance of the movie. Like, and it's just it's. I also saw that one of the reasons why he wasn't nominated is because the year before, I think, Unforgiven came out and kind of was all over the place. So they said the Academy had kind of a Western fatigue, which is stupid. But I did see that was.
So this lined up against Dances with Wolves too, and I think that got some Oscars love, if I remember correctly. And what's interesting about it is, so Dances with Wolves got the awards love, but this one, Tombstone, really killed it at the box office, and basically Kurt Russell was like, "That's all I cared about, is that I beat that movie," because he said he tried to get together with. He didn't say who at that production, but a lot of people assume it's Kevin Costner, and he was like, "Hey, why don't we, let's try and build off each other for this, and leverage each other's things here. Like maybe I could be in your movie and be like just somebody that gets killed, and vice versa." And basically, he said they got super defensive and told him to F off, and so he was like, "All right, let's beat this movie at the box office."
I think is that you said Dance with the Wolves, isn't that the Wyatt Earp movie?
Is it the Wyatt Earp room? Am I thinking of the wrong Kevin Costner?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the Wyatt Earp one.
Okay, then that one then.
Yeah, that makes sense completely because they did come out very similar timing. Yeah, sorry, what did I say? Dance with the Wolves was 1990, so it was a couple of years before Tombstone.
Yeah, it must have been. Wyatt Earp has Kevin Costner in it too,
Yep,
right?
it does.
Yeah.
And
Costner
you're right.
Loves his westerns.
He does in his baseball movies.
Yep.
Good work if you can find it. I mean, do what you love.
Yeah.
But yeah, it almost feels like, and I know it's hard. You only get so many movies, so many roles to nominate a year, and then like I said, like '93, I think Tombstone came out. So like you had Jurassic Park, you had Schindler's List. I think Forrest
Jurassic
Gump
Park over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Forrest Gump that year too? I think it might have been, but don't quote me on that. So there were big like award movies, but it stinks that like that performance didn't get the recognition it deserves, or sense like how it's become like part of kind of like legend, like that performance. Like everyone, you mentioned Tombstone too. Everyone's like, "Oh, Val Kilmer's so good in that."
Yeah, I think that he knows. I think that he knew that everybody loved that performance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think while he would have loved to have taken an Oscar for it, I think he's completely fine with all of the love that he got over it anyways. I still remember the first time I saw that movie. It was on Christmas Day. I was at my cousin's house, my Uncle Tom, his house, and my cousin, I think it was Kyle, was there watching it on Christmas Day, and I remember watching it then. Super young. Probably too young to be watching that movie, but we did one year too.
I remember my parents had a setup where like I think I told you this before where like the stairs to go downstairs had a door kind of on it at the house I grew up in, and like if they were watching a movie, like you could kind of like be on the stairs and like crack the door a little bit and like watch the TV from the stairwell and kind of like sneak watching the movie. And I did that quite a bit. You watch some stuff I shouldn't have watched as a kid, but Tombstone was one of the ones I snuck watched that. And I actually got caught by my dad while I was watching it and got in some trouble. But then like a month later, he had friends over. He's like, I'm just gonna put Tombstone on. You've already seen it. I'm like, okay, let's roll with this.
Yeah, so Tombstone, that's a big one. But Val Kilmer had a lot of other movies in his repertoire here that are extremely, extremely
Oh,
good.
absolutely.
So another one that I've always really loved was The Doors.
Hmm. I've never actually seen that.
You've never seen The Doors?
Nope.
Man, you got to see it. He's so good in it. Dewey Cox rips that movie super
I
hard.
heard. I heard.
Yeah.
Which I love that movie.
He's really great in The Doors. I recommend you see it. It's one of those movies that's like, during that era they were making a lot of like really trippy movies, They don't make that many like super trippy movies anymore. Like in this way where like it gives you like that vibe that like you're actually on acid watching the movie at some
Right.
points. It's very good. If you like The Doors, they really they feature all the music. They do it really well, and it's I think one of the all-time music biopic classics. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I don't.
Nope.
I don't think most other music biopics stack up even to this one.
It's pretty good. That's pretty high praise because music biopics have always been kind of like an Academy darling. We'll say like they're like an easy way to get a nomination. And I'm pretty sure is that his only Oscar nomination was for that movie.
That is a good question. I'll look that up.
But yeah, I know he's good in it. I know everyone generally universally praises his performance. It's just one I've missed. Just I don't remember it being super available. I remember my dad had a thing against The Doors, so he never had any interest in watching it. Don't know why. Could probably follow up on that. But I don't want to. And just I wanted to bring up one movie real quick from like really early on his movie career. Sorry, I just clicked off of it. It was called Top Secret. Have you ever heard of that movie?
Yeah, so Top Secret and Real Genius were like my introductions to him. Both
Yeah,
of those were.
exactly. And like Top Secret was like a spoof of like spy movies. And yeah, I remember really liking him, and then I need to go back and watch again because it's been many moons. But I remember that movie had the first like fourth wall break. I remember being in a movie where like he's talking to a co-star, a female character, and they're talking about like how the plot is just a plot of a bad movie, and they both kind of side eye the camera, and that has always stuck with me. I love that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie's a lot of fun. I watched that a lot as a kid, and I watched Real Genius. Have you seen Real Genius?
I have not seen Real Genius. That is one I need to watch too.
Yeah, so that's another comedy. It came out just a couple years after that. I think it's what is this 85 and
Mm-hmm.
Top Secret was 84. Yeah, so
Yep.
next year. But I think he made something in between them if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's very good. He basically plays a genius. He goes to this school and uh, it's all about. I honestly don't remember what it's really about, but there's a lot of like like college comedy
Yeah.
in it with him being like sort of the cool genius type
The
thing.
smartest man in the room, but he's also suave, kind of.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think there was it was part of it was that he was uh not necessarily like surprised not to be the smartest person there or something. I don't, I'm probably just completely butchering this plot, but it's right in that same age range as Top Secret. So if you like that and you're going to give that a watch, this is a great sort of compliment to that movie.
Right. And that just shows his flexibility as an actor. Starts off with two comedy roles, and then he switches up, and the next movie he does is Top Gun, which is one of his more famous roles as well, as he plays Iceman. Don't remember the character's name, but he was Iceman. He was the
Iceman.
foil to Tom Cruise. What is that? 84, 85, 86. So that's 3 straight years of like kind of big movies for him, just growing his star.
Yeah. What was interesting about that too is that he didn't want to do Top Gun.
I didn't hear that.
Apparently, he was forced to do it because of I think it was like
Contractual
studio
obligation
contracts or something. Yeah, and he never wanted to do it, and it seems like he's probably very glad that he did do it,
Right.
because it's one of the roles he's most known for, and he really nails that role.
He
It's
does.
the first one where he's like kind of a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of people have like flip-flopped on over the years and been like, maybe he wasn't that bad of a guy because he's just trying to stop Tom Cruise from
being a dick,
getting everybody killed.
Exactly. It's one of those. It is one of those. Like, you're like, is he really? Is Maverick really that good? Seems like Iceman makes some good points. It's like Ghostbusters with Walter Peck. It's like Walter Peck's right. Like, that system should have a safety switch on it.
Right. They're
like
just running like nuclear technology out of a firehouse basement.
Yeah. So same kind of concept. Like, he comes across as a prick, but he's just, being like, this guy's a loose cannon. I don't trust him.
Yeah, and I think that is so they really, really, really play on that in Top Gun Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
In his final role, where he's now like an admiral or something, he's running the Top Gun program along with John Hamm and all them, but he's running the show. He's above everybody, and you get that great cameo in there from him where it's the final role he ever was in. And I'm so glad that that's the one he finished his career on, because so often you see like he had to have known, right? Like his health was going downhill. It had been for years, so he was probably like, you know what, I'll come in and I'll shoot this one, and that'll be that. And so it's a perfect role for him to sort of, let be his swan song.
Great send off.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's like we heard rumors for a while that his health wasn't good. He hadn't been in much movies. I can remember. I think there was a movie called The Iceman. I remember him being in, where he's like a gravelly voice, like detective kind of. And I remember thinking like, oh, he doesn't sound great. And then you hear, the rumors and this and that about his health, which obviously were true, which is just too bad. And it was nice to see him get that, I don't want to say like career recognition, but definitely like the nostalgia, like, what's the word here? Come in full circle, kind of, I guess is the way I'm trying to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's obvious him and Tom Cruise had chemistry in Top Gun. They still seemed like they were legit friends. So it was, it's good that we had that.
Yeah, I actually watched an interview with Tom Cruise earlier when he was talking about it, and he said he was just so happy that Val Kilmer had agreed to do it, because it sounds like they proposed it to him like, hey, would you be willing to do this? And we'll be very careful about it, and we'll treat it with a lot of respect and everything. And he did it. And so Tom Cruise said that it was a very emotional experience shooting that scene with him.
No, I'm sure.
And, because they've known each other for 40 years now.
Oh yeah, right. So yeah, it was nice that was the capstone to his career. But I mean, this in between, like, I mean, obviously you mentioned The Doors, Tombstone. He had that fun little cameo in True Romance where he had to play Elvis.
Yeah, what a role most people don't know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I honestly didn't.
His face.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that was him until probably about like 5 years ago. And I've watched True Romance many times. I didn't know that was him.
I remember knowing about it, but it's like one of those fun facts that I forget about and then get reminded of every like 5-10 years. You know? Like, oh yeah, that is that thing, isn't it?
Outside of that, then the next big one probably be Batman Forever, which I mean, those were tough shoes to come into. He was coming into the role after, I mean, Michael Keaton and Tim Burton had knocked out the park with Batman '89 and Batman Returns. And then Joel Schumacher was taking over the project, and I like him as Bruce Wayne in that movie. I just don't think he gets enough character moments. You know what I mean? He's just kind of there. Like they're introducing Robin. You have a lot of Nicole Kidman walking around being Nicole Kidman, and Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones like hammering it up as hard as they freaking can. And it's like I didn't mind him in that role, but I didn't think he got a chance to shine either.
Yeah, I think he's good in it. I think he's underrated and understated. But what's interesting about that movie is that there's been a recent, not even that recent, it's maybe 2 years old or so, is this Kevin Smith had announced that he had watched the Schumacher cut of that movie.
Really?
And have you heard about the Schumacher cut?
I had not.
So Kevin Smith has this podcast called, it used to be called Fat Man on Batman, back when he was a big guy. and then he lost all the weight, and he calls it Fat Man Beyond now. And he was talking on there about hearing about this Schumacher cut, which is a cut of that movie that is like dark.
Really?
And it's what Joel Schumacher had originally wanted that movie to be. And it got, studio interference got all involved in it, and all these things happened, the usual. And we ended up with the version that we have today. But there is a version of that out there where it's quite different. And
Really?
So after he talked about this on there, somebody that he knows got a hold of him and were like, "Hey, I have this. I edited this movie. I have that cut of the movie." I think it was they edited it. It wasn't like the director or the director's wife or
Sure.
something like that. It was like literally somebody that had like edited it or something, and they were like, "Hey, I have this." And so I think they sold it to him or just gave it to him, and he's done screenings of it at his theater.
Really?
Because he owns a movie theater in New Jersey.
I would
Yes.
go watch that.
Yeah, I would watch the hell out of that. I would love to go see that sometime. But yeah, so I would love to see that too, to see how Val Kilmer's role now, how
Right.
that's represented. I don't imagine that Jim Carrey's role is very different,
Yeah. How can it be?
But I think Tommy Lee Jones, I think that I
Oh.
heard that his is very different, his role in it.
Because, I like Tommy Lee Jones, I do, and I know this about Val Kilmer, so I won't be too long on this. But his version of Two-Face in that movie, I hate, because it's so he's trying to match Jim Carrey's goofiness, which is not Two-Face.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 parts on that.
Apparently, that's not always what he was trying to do, and
Really?
he hated filming that movie, and he hated
He
Jim
did.
Carrey in it.
He did. I knew that.
What did he say? He's like, "I will not be subject to your buffoonery." Or
Yes, something like that. And he's on the red carpet with Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey goes to put his arm around him. He's like, "If you touch me, I'm going to punch you in the face." Things like that. It's like, geez, Tommy, calm down.
Yeah, no, he does not like him.
No. So that's really interesting. I would love to see that. I would love to see that, and I hopefully they give Val more to do in that. Not to belabor a point, but
Yeah, that would be really cool. I would love to see that aspect of it, to see what does he look like, and is that performance different? Does he get more to do?
right.
Is it more like, I don't know, like in his mind? Because there's hints of that in there. That it's more psychological.
A big cat just jumped up the table. Yeah, I would be down for that. Same year that Batman Forever came out, we got Heat.
Heat is one of my favorite movies. It
Same.
is a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
I've said it many times, and I'll say
And
it.
he is such a good glue character in that movie too. I mean, obviously Pacino, De Niro, the big names, but Val Kilmer's character is he has to be there.
Yeah.
Integral. That's the word I was looking for.
So good in that. And did you know that they're coming out with a sequel?
I heard rumors. I didn't know if it was for true yet.
Yeah, it's
true.
been announced. I think there's a book that was written, and Michael Mann is set to direct it, and Austin Butler is taking over as Val Kilmer's part, and
That'd be fun.
it's going to serve as both a sequel and a prequel.
So you're telling me
it's going to tell Val Kilmer's character. It's going to tell how he got to that point.
That's cool.
And
That'd
I
be
think
fun.
I had heard Adam Driver is going to play Robert De Niro's part, which, I mean, you can get worse actors for it.
Yeah, I don't dislike Adam Driver. Just everything he does lately has been kind of meh. There's just no offense, no shots taken at Adam Driver, but let's get a good performance out there, bud. What was I going to say? I had something. Oh yeah, I was going to say, so they're going to replace one Elvis with another Elvis then?
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that'll be fun. I think he's about as good as you can get for that role.
I agree. That's exciting. I hope they do that right.
Yeah. I wonder who they're going to have for, are they going to have Adam Driver for Robert De Niro's role, or would they put him in for Al Pacino's role?
I would think Pacino, just based off of strictly vibes.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm down for that. I hope they do it well.
I hope so too.
For a little while, I was kind of fed up with legacy sequels, but now I'm like, just make them good, and I'm in.
Yeah. Just unfortunately, most of the time, they don't.
They don't. All right, so after 95, he had Batman Forever. So that's a big year for him. Then 96 rolls around, and you know what happened in 96?
Is that The Ghost in the Darkness?
It is, but it's also a fairly infamous movie for him, too.
Oh, is that The Island of Dr. Moreau?
The Island of Dr. Moreau.
I don't even have that on my list anywhere. I chose not to put that on here.
Yeah, that speaking of trouble production, that movie apparently was a nightmare. And I remember Val being in the movie. I remember watching the movie and thinking like, oh, he's having a good time at least, but apparently he was not, and no one was. So I just wanted.
Who was having a good time? Marlon Brando.
He was, but he always did, right?
Yeah. He took over that entire production. There is a documentary on that. Have you watched it?
No, I haven't, but I heard it's good.
Please watch it. It is one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen. And I showed Sarah the trailer for the movie, and she's like, "That looks terrible." I was like, "It is terrible.
It is terrible. Accounts. But you got to watch it at least once.
You do have to watch it at least once. I remember watching it as a kid and being like, "That wasn't very good."
Yeah. Even as a kid, it's one of those movies you're like, that kind of ass. It's kind of ass.
Yeah, because it's kind of like Congo in that way. But like even Congo, I enjoyed as a kid.
Yeah,
this one could not even enjoy.
Yeah, no, Congo is definitely much more of a guilty pleasure than this. Is just a guilty. But not ass from 1996 is the movie you first went to. Is a movie we both love, The Ghost in the Darkness.
Yeah, and Sarah's a big fan of that too.
Is she?
That one, yeah, I showed that to her, and she immediately took to it and was like, this is just an extremely impressive movie. Everything about it is good.
So, I mean, I think we've talked about it enough on this channel, but yeah, I love Ghost in the Darkness, and I need to watch it again, but it's on the list. I have a little whiteboard I started in my room to just like cross things off I watch, and it's coming towards the top, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of other movies. He's The Saint he put out.
Yeah, Sarah and I actually tried to watch The Saint over the weekend because I showed her the trailer and like she was just laughing at like his accents in that movie. And like he does this one where it's like, "Hello, my name is Boris." and like, so we tried to watch it, but unfortunately Paramount Plus's app sucks, so it wasn't working. So we couldn't watch it. And that is not the first time that has happened. We've tried to watch that movie a couple times now and it hasn't worked. And most of the time the app doesn't work right. So, if anybody from Paramount Plus is watching this, fix your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm skipping over some of the other roles. Like there's some movies on here I don't even know about, like Dead Girl and Wings of Courage. I don't know what those movies are. If you've watched those movies and you love them, let us know in the comments. I have no field of reference for those couple. So after that, At First Sight's a fairly famous movie. I remember correctly. Is that the
one where it's like a blind dude that gets new eyes or something?
Yeah, like he falls in love with like his nurse or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Joe the King and Pollock. I don't know those movies. Red Planet. I think that was like a Mars movie, right?
That was a Mars movie.
Tom Sizemore?
I had this on my underrated list. Yeah, it's Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore, and Carrie-Anne Moss.
Nice.
And I think there's a couple other characters there that I don't remember, but those three are like the go-to. And it's actually it's a pretty good time. It's like one of those things. Like I said, it's underrated. It's not a good movie, but it's like kind of like a guilty pleasure. If you want to watch those three actors, mosey around Mars with like aliens and stuff, and I honestly don't even remember what it's about. But it's a little bit of an action sci-fi thing, but it's fun. It's these actors sort of at the top of their game, just coming together to make a bad movie together. But it is like one of those like it's
so bad it's entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
The next movie I want to mention was kind of on my list of movies that I think are underrated, and that is The Missing. Do you know that one?
Is that the one with Tommy Lee Jones?
Tommy Jones and Kate Blanchett, I believe. And he's in that. He's not a big role, but I just wanted to bring it up because I thought his role in that was really good. It's another Ron Howard movie. So Ron Howard, obviously, he worked with him on Willow, worked with him on this.
I've never seen Willow while we're on that subject.
Really?
Yeah.
You should really watch Willow.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's one of those movies, I think. I watched that so much as a kid, and it probably should have. Because like there's some stuff in there, but yeah, he plays Mad Madigan. He plays a guy who's like a self-proclaimed greatest swordsman of all time, kind of like the guy from Princess Bride a little bit. And yeah, he's really good and he's really entertaining, and it's a fun movie overall.
Mm.
But yeah, The Missing is a movie where Kate Blanchett's daughter gets kidnapped. Tommy Lee Jones goes out to find her, and Val Kilmer shows up as a lieutenant in the army at some point, and he's not in there long, but he puts on a good performance. I just wanted to give a call out to that.
Yeah, I do remember that now that you mention it. I just saw this movie for the first time like a year ago. It doesn't he kind of have like a Teddy Roosevelt look to him, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah. Is there any other ones you wanted to bring up? Because I kind of just have one more movie I wanted to touch base on, really, that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, so I have a handful here that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So, Wonderland. Have you seen Wonderland?
I haven't seen Wonderland. What's that one about?
So he plays in it like it's like one of those like fast-paced telling a mystery sort of mystery from different angles, and he plays like this guy, not different angles but different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays a guy that is like, you can just tell he's like a scumbag, and there's a lot of drugs in the movie, and yeah, it's just kind of a wild time of like this group of people, and there's like a murder and all this stuff. He puts on a really good performance in it, and I think it takes place in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing trailers for it. That sounds about right.
I think it might be based on a true story too. Like, I think loosely based, but like, cause the Wonderland
our favorite
seemed to like string out in my head for some reason. But I haven't seen it in a long time. But I used to have it on DVD.
I think that one to watch too.
All right, what was your other one?
My other one was going to be, my brain went blank. Hang on. Oh yeah, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I had that on my list too. Yeah. I was kind of hoping that would be the one you mentioned.
Yeah.
This movie is so damn good, and it's like impossible to find.
Right. And it's Shane Black, the guy who did Iron Man 3, various other things of varying quality. But he also, hilariously, was an actor in Predator, but we touched on that before. Yeah, so it's him, Robert Downey Jr., and it's a really good movie. And as you said, it's kind of hard to find to watch anywhere, but I really enjoy it. His character
never streaming anywhere.
Yeah. His character and Robert Downey Jr.'s character just play off each other so well. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is kind of a bumbling klutz, and Val Kilmer's just on him the entire movie, and it's great. And I love that movie. I need to watch it again.
Yeah, it's got Michelle Monaghan in it early in her career, and I think this is like the last thing Robert Downey Jr. released before he made it big with Iron Man.
I think this was like his comeback movie before the comeback movie, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because it is a very good movie. It's very good. It's very funny. It's the Nice Guys by Shane Black is like an unofficial sequel to this, if you didn't know. Right. And I really wish they had ever just made a sequel to this.
Right.
Because it really is that fun of a movie. It's really good. It's got like a Christmas vibe to it too, if I remember.
Yep. Shane Black likes Christmas.
Yeah, so if I would love to, this is one that if they release on 4K, I'll probably buy pretty much immediately.
Oh, absolutely, I would too. I need to buy it just so I can have it to watch it, because as you said, it's not streaming anywhere, so... Yeah. It needs to be in my collection. I need to watch it again. It's been years, and it's just been one I've been meaning to go back to, and I need to.
Yep. Yeah, so if anybody out there is into, like, it's kind of like a buddy cop movie, with a Christmas vibe and a murder mystery, and, you know, those three actors...
Michelle Monaghan, yep.
So one that wasn't mentioned here anywhere that he has a pretty decent-sized supporting role in is Deja Vu with Denzel Washington.
He's in that?
Yep. Have you seen it?
I've seen the movie, but I don't remember him in it at all.
He's the guy that like runs the program of the time machine, basically. So he's the one that like approaches Denzel and is like, hey, why don't you, we've got this program we do where it's like taking all these things and like we want you to help us. So he's the one that brings him in.
In my defense, I think I saw Out of Time, and I think there's a Nick Cage movie called Knowing around the same time, and those movies kind of just combine in my head to make one thing. I have not seen that.
Okay. You should watch it because it is very good. It's one of the many Tony Scott, Denzel Washington collaborations. You know, like they did that. They did Unstoppable.
Man on Fire.
Yeah, Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. I feel like there's one more in there. But, yeah, it's very good. It's probably my favorite of all of those. And it's just a really good time. You know, it's time machine stuff happening, and it's done in a really unique way. And, yeah, it's just, you know, it rests pretty squarely on Denzel Washington's shoulders. But Val Kilmer is great in it as the supporting, like, government guy that's kind of bending the rules to do the right thing to bring in Denzel Washington. You know, I might watch that movie tonight.
Maybe I will too.
Yeah, it's very good. Check it out.
All right, you said you had another one too?
Yeah, so I have two more movies that I wanted to mention. One of them is, so both of them are like what I would consider like underrated movies. So one of them is called Spartan. And it's just kind of I think it was like a direct to DVD like action thriller that he did that, you know, went pretty under the radar, and it's actually a pretty serviceable movie. You know, so if you're looking for something and you've pumped out all of his great ones, that's one you can throw on. That's, you know, just it's a good one. You know,
I see. 2004 looks like. Him, William H. Macy, sorry. Him and Lionel Messi. And then Ed O'Neill's in that? That's cool. That'd be fun.
Who's Ed O'Neill?
Not Ted Bundy. Al Bundy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Ted Bundy.
It's got a solid little cast there. You know, a lot of those direct-to-DVD ones in that era kind of had that too, you know.
He did do a few of those too towards the end of his career.
He did, and he had a little lull there in the middle of his career too, where he did a handful of these too. The last one I wanted to mention is the Salton Sea. Have you ever mentioned this?
No. All
right, so this one I think is like very underrated. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like a mystery action thriller type thing, but it's full of very unique characters. And just the way everything unfolds is really fun. Like, it's got a lot of really artistic choices in it, from, you know, just the way they visually tell the story. And, you know, I would say give the trailer a watch and you'll know exactly what I mean. Vincent D'Onofrio is in it as well.
He's great.
Yeah, and he's having a fun time too. And yeah, I would say that's one that, if you haven't seen, it's one of his like hidden gems.
All right.
More so than Spartan. Spartan's very straightforward action thriller, you know, perfectly serviceable. But this one is one that's like, it's a unique movie, you know.
Okay. I wouldn't be opposed to watching that. I did see another movie I wanted to bring up while I was scrolling through his movies just there, looking for Spartan and the one you just mentioned. Have you seen MacGruber?
I have seen MacGruber. No, I haven't seen MacGruber.
No.
I've seen countless clips of it online, but no, I've never actually seen the movie. It
is a movie that is, like, if you don't like that kind of humor, it's not going to be for you at all. But he plays the main bad guy in that movie, Dieter von Kunt, I think his name is. And it's purposely like that because, you know, funny last name. And, yeah, he's enjoying himself in the movie. He's hamming it up real hard, and it's very enjoyable. If you like that kind of humor.
A handful of those types of things. That was fun. I remember seeing that he had done that.
Yeah, it's fun. I think that's worth a watch myself. But if you don't, I think if you you get 10 minutes of that movie and you haven't laughed yet, you probably should just cut it then, because you're not gonna. It's not gonna change your mind after that point.
Who is it? There's isn't like Triple H or somebody in it?
There's a bunch of wrestlers.
Or
there's
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho, The Big Show. I think there's a whole thing where he recruits a bunch of friends of his, and they're all like ex wrestlers, and then. Spoiler for it, but they get murdered immediately. It's kind of like the original like X-Force gag from Deadpool.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so you know, it was really sad to see that Val Kilmer passed away. So we wanted to take a little time here because he, you know, Dan and I are into so many of his movies.
Yeah.
And just take a little bit of time to talk about him because he really is one of the actors of our generation.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. and just take time to just go over it, talk about it, and just show it the respect, and just just say thank you. I guess just thank him for what he did.
Yeah. All right. So one other person I wanted to talk about that just passed away, I think either yesterday or the day before, is somebody who's not known into this caliber, but a really, really good character actor is Nicky Katt. Do you know about Nicky Katt?
Nicky Katt. Go ahead. Give me a second to look it up.
Well, so he's one of those actors that, like, when you see him, you'll be like, oh, I know this guy. Oh, he was in this. He was in this. He was in this. And, you know, it's really difficult to like you don't even remember his name in most of his movies, much like you don't remember, you know, his name in real life. But he has been in a ton of movies. So where Val Kilmer was in, I think, like 100 different movies, over 100 different roles, Nicky Katt was at 75, and they're almost all these, like, supporting / you know, scene level roles. You know, I think a lot of people remember him as he was the guy that was driving the truck that I think Two-Face is in The Dark Knight.
Is he really?
Yeah, and he's like talking about like, I didn't sign up for this, and like everybody was like, why did Nicky Katt do this role? And like I think it's just because he's you know, wanted the chance to be in a Batman movie and work with Christopher Nolan. But
I'm looking back at this filmography, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is a lot of movies I've seen that I just don't recognize the actor.
He's been in a ton of them. Did you Google like his face to see his face?
Yeah, and I'm getting big Ron Livingston vibes, and I can't get past it.
Getting what?
Ron Livingston, the guy from Office Space.
Yeah. You've seen Planet Terror, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy that turns into a zombie. That's like he's like I think he's like a hillbilly or something.
No, okay.
Hunter guy, and he turns into a zombie in that scene with like Josh Brolin, I believe.
Okay. He's also in Death Proof apparently too. He's the counter guy.
Yeah. So he was also in you know, one of his first big roles was in Dazed and Confused. He's also in Boiler Room. Have you seen Boiler Room?
I like Boiler Room pretty well, actually. I like Boiler Room. I think it's an underrated movie is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Google him, Boiler Room Nicky Katt. You'll know who he is from that, because he has a big part in Boiler Room. He's one of the heads of that organization. But yeah, so he, you know, I think you're probably going to see a lot of videos poking around on social media of him. You know, he's been in so many different things. He was in Boston Public. He was in Insomnia, Rules of Engagement, just nonstop things. He was even in he's in the Star Wars universe here too, in the Knights of Republic 2. But
yeah. definitely a face. Definitely one of those. We mentioned before, like one of those guys, like the actors you just like, it's that guy. He's in stuff like William Fichtner and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I like, you watch a couple clips with him after this episode, and you'll be like, oh man. And so they hadn't released a cause of death, but he's young.
Yeah,
he's very young. He was 54.
Scary young.
So yeah, so it was actually April 8th I'm seeing too. So a few days ago. But yeah, it's still very, very sad to hear. And he was somebody that I had always like tracked, you know, like, hey, look, there's that guy again, you know?
Yeah. Like how I am with like Ben Foster and Barry Pepper.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, yeah, Barry, he's on Barry Pepper level probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Barry Pepper might be a little bit bigger than him, but yeah, you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. All right. Cheers to them. Pour one out for them. And let's get to some news.
Yes, sir.
So, first piece of news, extremely on brand for what we were just talking about. Tombstone has a pre-order for the 4K that is live right now. And I actually saw online some people have gotten theirs already that pre-ordered it.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know if they got connections or sometimes it just happens like that. These places have it and they're like, oh, we got orders. Let's just send them out because, they're just sitting on a shelf.
That Naked Jaws game I got, like I pre-ordered that and they're like Q3 2025. I'm like, all right, I'll get that like August, whatever. And it showed up like 4 days later. It's like, okay, I guess I got that.
Yeah. So I wanna snag this.
Yeah,
but like it is a little it feels a little price gougy because I was looking at it and last I saw it was like $55 for it.
They know it's a movie of our generation.
Yeah. So I'll probably still get it. But I'm gonna save that one till I get paid on Friday.
Okay.
All right, next piece. Scooby-Doo live action series is coming to Netflix. What do you think about that? You heard about that?
I'm surprised it wouldn't go to Max. Doesn't Warner Brothers own Scooby-Doo?
They do, but they are probably trying to come up with ways to make more money without doing things.
I forgot Warner Brothers is like that right now.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, we can make money off this IP while not actually having to make anything. Great. So they're doing that. They're taking the Marvel Defenders sort of approach to it, where who knows how long this stays on Netflix. I don't imagine it stays there permanently, right?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, but I bet it sticks around a while.
But live action, that's fun.
Yeah, that could be really cool. I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan. I loved the movies. I loved the shows. Keep that brand alive. I think kids need to keep, playing around with that brand.
I think so. They tried an animated franchise, didn't they? Like there was a Scoob, I think it was called.
Yeah, I think maybe.
There's an animated. Yeah.
They've done a ton. Like they've done way more than I've ever watched.
Yeah, I think there was an animated Scoob movie, and there was going to be an animated like Scoob Saves Christmas or something. But when the Warner Brothers decided to cut this, try to write everything off for taxes, they kind of killed that movie too.
Yeah.
So let someone else make it then if you're not interested in Warner Brothers, and hopefully Netflix doesn't cancel it after one season where everyone loves it.
They will.
I know.
Did we talk about in the last episode that Coyote versus Acme movie?
Yeah, we did.
We talked about that.
We mentioned it because
they sold it.
Yeah, because I thought that the movie came out the day the Earth blew up or whatever, the Looney Tunes movie that came out and didn't get like any like press for it. I thought that was the movie that was the one that Warner Brothers had written off. But you're right, it was this other one. But now that one's also been purchased by the same company that put out the prior one that I mentioned, and now they're going to try to release it, which is exciting.
That is exciting, and I'm happy for Will Forte on that because he seemed pretty broken up about that whole thing.
He did.
That's the type of thing to make you never work with a studio again,
right?
Absolutely.
Like you go, you put this work in, and then they're just like, we're going to write it off as taxes. It's like...
Yeah. And Christopher Nolan is already, he's not outright said it, but he had exclusively worked with Warner Brothers for a while, and now he's just been working with, I think, Legendary.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Step your game up, Warner Brothers. You got a lot of stuff people like. Stop
destroying relationships.
Yep.
All right. Next thing, Giancarlo Esposito has expressed interest in playing Mr. Freeze, proving once again that the MCU did him dirty with his casting in the Captain America Brave New World movie.
Gosh, that was such a train wreck. Such a fumbling of the bag that is. And like he thought he was playing a character. He thought he was playing Cobra, like the leader of the Silver Society, and he shows up and they're like, "No, you're playing Sidewinder." And he's like, "I don't even know who that is." And like, doesn't matter. Just go.
Remember when he was talking about that too? He's like, nobody will ever guess who I'm playing.
Like, because no one knows. You didn't even know.
So basically, he's like, okay, DC, maybe you guys will give me a meaningful role.
Please, yeah.
Could you imagine what he would do with Mr. Freeze? Like, if he Gus Fringed Mr. Freeze?
Right. Like of course, I mean, when we talk about Mr. Freeze, I'm sure we're talking about the same, like, Batman the Animated Series, tragic.
Yeah.
The best depiction of him so far has been the Batman the Animated Series. And I think if you give Giancarlo the keys to that, he could really kill it.
Yeah. I really think so, too. And, he's got such an acting ability that if you give him the right material, he will really make it truly iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And So, I hope James Gunn does it and gives him that, because like if you've got somebody like that trying to step up for it, do it.
Let him have it.
Yeah.
I mean, James Gunn already gave the green light to that Clayface movie because he loved the script that the guy provided. He's supposed to be doing, like, if people are passionate about something, like, listening to them. So hopefully this is part of it then.
Yeah. And it's been confirmed now that Jason Momoa is doing Lobo, right?
Yeah, they showed. I saw photos of him on set of Supergirl. So it's coming.
Yeah, that was the one that was like, I think James Gunn was always like, why wouldn't you do Lobo? Like, he wanted to be Lobo, and
you put him as Aquaman.
Yeah,
which he did fine. Like, I enjoyed his Aquaman movies for what they are.
He made Aquaman cool again. So props to him for that.
That's your stuff, because people did nothing but shit on Aquaman for 40 years in pop culture.
Yeah, and I bet we don't see the last of his Aquaman either. It's only a matter of time till they bring those characters in for a Crisis on Infinite Earth or
you're
something.
Right.
It's only a matter of time till they do that.
That's true, because they're kind of like the OG of that. Then Marvel kind of followed suit with the Secret Wars.
Yeah, so I mean, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, but they will do it.
No, they will do it.
It's Marvel's doing it already. You know, they can't rush into it though.
No. They've already done that once. They did that once.
Yeah, and it was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, next thing. Have you seen the trailer for Clown in a Cornfield?
I think I did Saturday night, but Saturday night was a long day, and I saw a lot of trailers at the end of the night, and I think I don't quite remember it, but I remember being like, that looks like it's better than it should be.
Yeah. So it's getting some pretty good reviews, actually. Okay. And I saw one article from Variety that said it has the biggest twist in a horror movie since Cabin in the Woods.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I was like, from Variety, like...
It's not like the Dan Carter magazine.
Yeah, that's not the Dan Carter magazine.
I knew a shout soon.
I kind of... We can put that together for you.
We can figure it out.
I kind of feel like I've got to see this now just to see what that twist is.
Yeah.
And, even if it sucks...
It's a cool name for a movie.
That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah. We're okay with shit movies being fun.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that one, because that stood out to me. Before that, I was like, it looks like a pretty run-of-the-mill... it looks interesting, but you don't really... It's not immediately apparent exactly what is going on with it, and maybe that's what's where this comes in. So yeah, let's keep an eye on it, and maybe when it comes out, we check that one out and talk about it.
I'd be okay with that.
Cool. Next thing, Predator: Killer of Killers trailer. You saw that?
I saw that. Of course I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me what you think.
I am apprehensive about it. Like, I want to be excited for it, but just for some reason, it's because it reminds me a little bit of the Marvel What If art style, kind of. I don't know why I get that vibe from it, but it's more Predator. They're taking the stories that we've wanted to see, like the Predator versus this, the Predator versus that, and they're doing it this way. And it's exciting to see him finally, that people have been clamoring for, like, him versus this specific thing, him versus this thing. But you just kind of wish they were movies, Like, I'm excited, but I kind of wish it was a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is exactly what I was saying until I saw the trailer, and I was like, you know what? I'm in. And Michael Biehn is one of the voice actors in it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Dan Trachtenberg is one of the directors. So I'm like, you know what? That looks pretty darn cool. So I'll definitely be checking that out. Do you know
absolutely.
Does that go to theaters, or is that going to...
I think it's going to Hulu or Disney Plus, one of the two. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
The poster, it says Hulu.
Okay.
So June 6th, Hulu. Dan Trachtenberg and Joshua Wasung, who is known for visual effects on a bunch of movies.
Hey, that's a good background to have for this kind of thing.
Yes, it is. Masters of the Air, Avatar: The Last Airbender, the movie, or the show, the recent one, Madam Web, your favorites.
That movie was ass.
Prey, Doctor Strange and the
Prey was great.
Multiverse of Madness, Lovecraft Country, It Chapter 2, not my favorite special effects.
No.
Cloverfield, Total Recall, the remake.
Okay, back and still.
I hated
It's a bad movie.
Recall the remake.
It's a bad movie. Kate Beckinsale looks good.
Yes, she does.
But that doesn't make a good movie. You need more than that.
So yeah, let's keep an eye on that one. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll definitely be talking about that one.
Oh yeah.
They also did like a big announcing thing where they talked about Predator Badlands, and Elle Fanning announced that she was going to be teaming up with the Predator in this one. So that should be interesting. They made it seem like it was groundbreaking, and like,
it's like I saw Aliens vs Predator.
I was like, you guys did this in like 2 or 3 of them now.
Right.
Like, they did it in The Predator. They did it in
Aliens
vs. Predator. Yeah. And
I always forget about the Predator.
And they did it in Predators.
That's true.
Right?
The smaller one helped them out for a while.
Yeah. So it's not actually new whatsoever. It's actually more common than any other trope in the Predator movies. But with that being said, there's room for it to be very, very cool, because if they're telling this from the point of view of the Predator, then and her, so maybe there's this group of I don't know, bad guys, and you actually get to somewhat see the Predator win for once. Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be nice. And maybe they're doing like a whole thing where like she can like aim him, kind of like she kind of like uses it. She like aim him at what she like the bad men who maybe have wronged her, and she's using him as like a revenge weapon, kind of.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking, but I might be way off. But it's fun to just speculate sometimes.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited about that one. I think it's going to be good.
Very fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. After Prey, I wanted a lot more Predator, and they're giving it to us. So kudos on Disney for listening on that aspect.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see another Prey movie. I hope they get to that somewhere here, because I think he's taking his time with that one. He apparently loves the world. And just wants to tell all of the stories. So, yeah, tell all the stories.
Tell stories. We're here for it.
Yeah. So, one thing that I wanted to talk about. So, did you happen to go see The Amateur last weekend?
No.
No, neither did I. But I wanted to talk about, like, I tagged you in it somewhere. But did you see the trailer for it?
The Amateur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember there's, like, a scene in the trailer where Lawrence Fishburne is... like, he takes it and he gives Rami Malek the gun, and he's like, come on, shoot me. You gotta shoot me. And he doesn't shoot him. So he's like, you don't have what it takes.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to help you. And, like, I saw somebody making fun of this online. They're like, oh, because the guy, so everybody's turned their back on him. The CIA turned their back on him. And so because the only guy that's agreed to help him whatsoever in his quest to get revenge on his wife, because he refuses to kill the only guy.
He was going to help him out, yes.
Oh, he doesn't have what it takes. So they're like, how preposterous.
Yeah, ridiculous. And then like a second later in the trailer, they show him like blow up a infinity pool or something.
Yeah. So, and about that pool, it's like, it looked like, so I saw online, and there's been a lot of like influencers showing like there's like a pool that stretches between 2 skyscrapers, and it kind of looked like something like that. Yeah. But also it looks like it's got like a surrounding to it the whole way through.
Right.
So it's got like a deck around the whole thing. So he starts swimming away from Rami Malek. He could just swim right to the side, but he swims the long way.
Yes, he's got Charlize Theron in Prometheus.
Charlize Theron, or that one little Jon Snow's little brother there that
doesn't zigzag.
Runs in a straight line instead of zigzagging. Yeah, this ain't rocket science, people. Do yourself a favor.
Don't make an easy target.
If you've got to get out of the pool, go to the side that's closest to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine it didn't get great reviews, but probably worth a watch when it comes out.
Yeah, what everybody told me was like, this movie's not bad, but it's also not all that. Like, it seemed like the type of thing you could easily wait for streaming for.
Right, and I think like a bunch of movies come out lately that I had interest in, and they all kind of had the same reaction. Like Woman in the Yard, I was kind of interested in, but apparently it's the same kind of boat.
Yeah, Drop,
yep, same thing.
Yeah, that gave me Phone Booth vibes.
It did.
I really like Phone Booth.
I know you do. It's good. It's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah. Next piece of news: AMC CEO Adam Aron says that 3 major studios have agreed that they need to bring back the 45-day theatrical window. Basically saying it's a good start. He did an interview with Deadline for that.
I think it's a good start. Yeah, you can't have a movie be in theaters and be on streaming like 2 weeks later. You're going to kill the movie business, the movie theater business.
Yeah, and because that's the big draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because most people don't want to leave their house. I don't like leaving my house.
There's people outside. Like, no, not all the time.
Good.
Not all the time.
And
you don't want to be around
them. This whole Minecraft debacle is anything to be, any indication. Yeah. Have you seen everything about that?
No.
So it's a whole thing. There's at a certain point, so it seems to be an issue with the entire movie as a whole. But there's one specific scene where apparently kids are going absolutely apeshit and throwing popcorn and throwing slushies and spiking sodas on each other through this movie, and it's like a TikTok trend type thing. Which it's whenever somebody says it's a TikTok trend, you know that it's like, oh, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah, it turns my old man switch really up, real high.
Yeah, I can see that's the type of thing to get you bent out of shape.
What are these TikTokers doing now?
Yeah, so that's pretty awful, and it was not helped by the fact that, like, theater owners everywhere and theater workers are posting videos and pictures of them having to clean up all of this, and it's like truly awful. But then the director of the movie was like, I see no problem with this. And so
really,
well, you are getting paid millions of dollars because all these kids are going to your movie, so I don't see, so I get it why you wouldn't, but all of these people out here that are making minimum wage, really sucks for them.
That's bullshit. That's garbage. That's a bad thing to do. So that sucks. I was wondering why the movie was doing so well. So it's just a TikTok trend of being an asshole.
Yeah, basically.
That's frustrating, and that's sad that's why that movie did the numbers it did. Like, let's be honest, I didn't expect that movie to be the hit it is. And if that's part of it, that sucks. That kind of takes the wind out of the sails.
It is, it's whenever you can connect a trend to a movie, it's always going to do better. Mm-hmm. You remember that was a whole thing with Titanic where everybody's bragging about how many times they saw it. Yeah. So trends with movies have always been a thing, but I think taking it to this extent is pretty uncalled for.
It's also setting a dangerous precedence for, like, well, how do we top this now? What do we do in the next movie?
Yeah. Well, you know what else it's going to cause too? You know how theater workers start asking for tips. Mm-hmm. This is how they start asking for tips.
This is how they start asking for tips, exactly. And then the expensive experience of going...
people asking for tips on your way out of a movie theater, but you start treating them like this and they're going to start.
Yeah. And then the expensive experience of going and seeing a movie gets worse, and then that's going to make the theaters suffer even more.
Yeah, exactly. So people, don't do this.
Don't do it. I don't like it.
I say that, but my target audience is all people in their 30s anyways, so they're not watching this. Okay, next up, David Fincher is set to direct a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood starring Brad Pitt.
Really?
Based on a script by Quentin Tarantino with Leonardo DiCaprio making an appearance in a small role.
So cameo.
Yes. You didn't see this?
I didn't see this. This is news to me.
This released on April 1st, so I've been hanging on to this one for a minute. But it was not a joke. Okay. People were like, is this real?
Well, then don't put it on April 1st.
That's what everybody said. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and a lot of people have said that it's legit. It's totally a real thing, and that it's a pretty unique idea. So what is kind of being reported is that it was originally so Quentin Tarantino was trying to release his 10th film. He was going to make it be this, what was it called, the comedian or whatever, or the critic. And so he ended up not liking this for his 10th and final movie. So he turned it into this script. And then he was like, well, there's a lot of good ideas here. I'm not going to use them. Let me give them to somebody to use. And so he's giving it to David Fincher to make.
That's exciting then. Yeah, I know.
Very exciting.
Tarantino's been a little Tarantino about his next movie, so protective. It's not that I shouldn't say Tarantino. He's been protective about his next movie because he wants it to be his last one, which you get. So that's exciting. He's not just like putting it in his pocket like, I'm not doing this. No one else can do it. Like he's giving it a chance to be made, which is good.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that out of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
because that's what he said. This will be his 10th and final movie. Maybe he starts. He's the type of guy that will still make stuff, but do it in different ways. Maybe he'll do like a 4 Rooms type thing, where it's like he'll do an anthology in it, or he'll do a TV series, or he'll write something. Or
he's gonna keep working. He's gonna keep doing something.
Yeah, so I think he'll find ways around it. But if this really does happen, I think that's huge because. David Fincher, as you know, is one of my favorite directors.
Oh, absolutely.
And he can do so much with a script like this, from Quentin Tarantino, where the writing is really there. He doesn't always write his own stuff, so, there's some good stuff there. He didn't write Seven, although he had a big hand in it. He didn't write Social Network, Gone Girl, based on a novel. So... if he's able to really just dig into the cast and all of that, I think it's got a real good chance to be something special.
Yeah, that's exciting news. As I said, I hadn't heard that part, but I'm glad that it's a thing that's happening.
Yeah. Something you have definitely heard about. Oscars add Best Stunt Design category to the ceremony starting in 2027.
And that is so far beyond overdue. Like it
really is.
You can't say you're the Oscars and you care about movies this much and not give love to. There's such a huge part of movies. Like not everything is going to be a drama. What doesn't matter. Action scenes and stunts are part of movies. Like you need to give them their due credit.
Yeah, and this is the best way to get more of that, right? Like everybody's always complaining about there being not as many stunts in movies, and this is
so much CGI.
Yeah, so this is a really good way to encourage them to fall back into that.
Yeah,
that's how you turn John Wick into an Oscar winner, right?
Exactly. That's exciting. I'm glad they're doing it. I kind of wish they would just do like retroactively go back like 20 years and honor the ones that came before, but that's never going to happen. Because they're stubborn. They don't do that. They don't do that. That's just annoying. But yeah, they never admit that they're wrong. So, but I'm glad they're doing it. And let's not stop there. Let's add a couple more categories. Let's make it actually all about all movies instead of just the Academy baiting dramedies that come out every year. Not dramedies, dramas. What I meant to say.
Yeah, this could. I don't know how they're going to award it. But this could be how we get a Keanu Reeves Oscar in there.
Right. Could be. Best action sequence or something like that. I remember the MTV Movie Awards used to have that, so that might be maybe not the best example, but something like that,
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention, I forgot about this. I was looking it up. Val Kilmer was never nominated for an Oscar.
Never nominated? That's crazy. I thought for sure he's nominated for The Doors. That's boo. Boo Academy. Boo.
Yep.
Boo! No.
Okay,
don't know
so
why
next
I'm
up,
Palpatine on that, but it happened.
I was doing like the witch from Princess Bride.
And I went to Palpatine, yes.
Okay, next up, Jenna Ortega has confirmed that she left Scream 7 because of the Melissa Barrera firing and the director leaving.
Right.
Not because of
scheduling conflicts,
pay dispute
or
scheduling conflict.
Okay.
Both of those rumors were floating around that she was getting too expensive and she didn't have time for it. And she just came out and said, hey, no, that's not what happened. And she sat on this for a while.
Yeah.
That was like, what, 8 months ago or something?
Yeah, maybe there was some kind of like contract clause she had to get past before she could say anything.
Wouldn't surprise me if there was.
But no, I'm glad that she came out and said it because we all knew it. But it's just good to just say like she's not just she's not just she'll stand up for something. I mean to say.
Yeah, and she basically said so. She said that that was the timeline of it, is that they fired Melissa, and then the director left, and then she was like, "Okay, well, if these people that I've been doing this with, that I've been creating this with, that if they're all not going to be there, then I don't want to be there."
Now, how could you blame her?
Yeah. And so the director of it that had left was Christopher Landon, and he confirmed that he didn't fire Melissa Barrera either, that it was the producers of Spyglass, and he was simply informed following the decision. So he didn't even know before they did it. They just fired her, and they were like, "Hey, guess what, buddy? We just fired your star.
Your lead actress, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah." And he also said that he received countless death threats following the news, and eventually left the project because it basically seemed like everything was falling apart. And he got so many death threats that the FBI actually got involved too. And so that's why he left, because he was like, "Hey, everything's falling apart. Everybody hates me. The FBI is involved. This is all a sign that I shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah, and that's good for him to realize that and get out of there. Just don't put yourself in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, and so his follow-up after all that was Drop this weekend. He directed that movie.
I know we both said it kind of has come out, but it could be fun.
Yeah, it's gotten good reviews.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah. Not like people aren't saying it's like the best movie ever, but everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that was good."
Well, that's all we need sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw Madam Web. We just need okay.
Yeah. My mom watched Craven over the weekend. She's like, "Oh, that was really good." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that's a movie I could see.
I don't believe you.
That's a movie I could see Lori enjoying quite a bit.
Yeah,
my dad's the same way.
Stuff
yeah,
like we do, right?
Yeah, my dad's the same way. He's like, "That was a good time. I know everyone hated it." I'm like,
remember that thing I sent you over the weekend where somebody's like,
Calypso?
"This is not, yeah. This is a picture of somebody that they're using AI to make it look and to make her mouth move and to add movement to her body."
It was a steel frame and not steel frame, a still frame, and they just kind of slowly moved her hair and her face and it's creepy and it's weird and it makes total sense that she was just checked out of the performance then, because it wasn't even her in some of it.
She's like, "No, I'm not coming back.
No. I'm not going to do. I'm not doing reshoots for this.
Not for this." Yeah. Okay, so the final piece of news I have for the week, and this is brand new, fresh off the press a couple hours ago. Silent Night, Deadly Night remake is in the works and has cast Halloween Ends star Rohan Campbell, aka Corey.
Okay. I don't want to judge him based on that. Silent Night, Deadly Night's obviously a camp horror classic. It'd be tough to remake that, I think, but it could be fun. I don't want to crap on the actor because I didn't like him as Corey, but that's not his fault. The movie itself made me angry, so I don't think it's all on him.
It's not on him. It is the writing. It is the directing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll give him benefit of the doubt. Maybe because he's got, with me personally, kind of low expectations. Maybe he can surprise me with this and actually turn around.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But that's exciting. Horror is so funny like that. If you would have given me 20 chances to guess that, I probably never would have got it. But it makes perfect sense that they would try it.
Right. It's really interesting that they're going for it with him too.
Yeah.
You know what I watched? So I watched on my way back from Philly. I watched Halloween 2018.
Yeah, which is good.
And then I watched on my way back from a work trip in Maryland last weekend. I watched Halloween Kills. I did. I watched both of them on the train. And so I watched the extended edition of Halloween Kills. I don't know how different it is than the regular one. But it was on my Movies Anywhere app. It was just the one that I had because you remember I bought the 4K trilogy. I want to say, man. So Halloween 2018,
good
not
movie.
Quite as good as I remembered.
Okay.
You know that scene where he's going through the whole neighborhood killing everybody? I feel like I hyped that up so much in my head as to how cool that scene is. And I was like, oh, he kills 2 people, and there's some extended shots in it. But I don't know. In my head, I was I had made it out to be so cool, and I was but overall, yeah, it's a really good movie. But I wanted to say, Halloween Kills was actually much better than I remembered it being.
No.
think come Halloween, you should give that one a second try.
That's tough. I might just for like the podcast, just to maybe do something with that for you, but I'm not going to do it voluntarily.
We should revisit that whole trilogy.
Okay. We
I will say, man, so all the things we said we liked in it, I really, really liked. So the flashback sequence,
oh yeah, that's great.
Is so good. The fireman sequence, so good.
Yeah.
And
best stunt Oscar.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that could be nominated.
The other stuff, it just didn't take up as much of the movie as I remembered it taking up. You know what I mean?
Evil Dies Tonight?
Yeah.
I remember that being the whole movie.
That's what I thought too. And like, yeah, it's a big portion of it. But like, they don't, like, in my head, they had said Evil Dies Tonight like 40 times.
Yeah.
But they might say it like 8 times or something.
No, that can't be true.
I watched the extended edition, so unless they replaced those with, like, I don't know, like, it wasn't as egregious as I remembered it being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, but in my mind, that movie's still ass. But I will rewatch it with you if that's what you would like to do, because I am a sycophant. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, give it a try. You know, like, so.
But it's gonna be Halloween time. I can't do it. I don't want to put that on top of my plate right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking too. I'm just a guy sitting in like a suit on the way back from Maryland, sitting here watching. I watch it on my phone too, with just like little earbuds in.
Looking like a proper psychopath.
So I was like, if somebody's looking at me right now, they're like, "Oh, this is a madman right here."
Yeah, look at this little Jason Bateman wannabe. Not Jason Bateman. Choose. Oh my God, Jason Bateman.
Patrick Bateman.
Patrick Bateman. Thank you. Jason Bateman wannabe.
Yeah, I didn't know what you meant by that, but I was like, that sounds funny.
Patrick Bateman is what I meant to say.
All right.
So
here
good.
we are, Rohan Campbell.
Yeah, I hope
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I am willing to give him a shot. Like I hope he does good in it. So I hope it gets a wide release too. Like I hope it's not just like straight to like streaming or something.
I think it'll get a right.
Not like these bull crap like freaking like the evil Winnie the Pooh or the evil Popeye Sailor Man or the evil Mickey Mouse bull crap they're flooding the market with.
We should watch those sometime.
I would be willing to watch one of those and just do like a reaction or something.
Yeah,
they all look like ass. So,
despite what I said about Halloween Kills, I tried to watch Halloween Ends back in October and I couldn't even finish it.
Yeah,
it was actually that one was actually worse than I'd remembered.
I think that's fair.
I remembered being like, that wasn't so bad. A lot of decisions I wouldn't go with, but it makes like it's a stark change in tone partway through, and yeah, they do Michael dirty in that.
Real dirty. I remember going into that theater.
Make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Why is he just hanging out in the sewer,
just showing out the wall? Just showing out, just giving out his evil vibes to everyone else. I remember going into that last movie. I'm like, I'm gonna give this a chance. I hated Kills. I'm gonna try it like this, and it was worse than I expected. So I'll try Kills again, but End might be too far of a reach for me.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any physical media to showcase?
Nope. The viewers can see I'm back at my parents' house because they went on another vacation. Had more plumbing issues.
I got this new candelabra behind me.
Yes, delicious. So yeah, no physical media.
Well, we're missing you, Dan.
Yeah.
I got one thing to show off. So I got the 4K Steelbook of Oppenheimer.
Nice. I still need to watch that.
You haven't seen this?
It's so long, man. It's a commitment.
It is long, but it is really, really well done. It's actually much more well done than I even thought it'd be. So the cool thing about this is, so first off, we got so many discs in here. So many discs.
That's a lot of discs.
Christopher Nolan came out and he was basically like, hey, I've spent a lot of time on this 4K edition of this movie.
He would.
And it is the best version of this physical thing that we have, because he's big on physical media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's big on shooting with film. He's
Mm-hmm.
big on physical media. He's big on all these things. You know, he's an old school guy.
Yeah, like us.
Old school principles. You know, yeah, practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
You know, doing things the hard way. All those things. So he said that they put a ton of time into this. And even the Steelbook looks absolutely beautiful. It was sold out for a good long while, and I finally snagged myself a version of it.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's my thing.
Very cool.
I'm excited to watch it.
I need to just like I did with the Justice League, just set myself a timer, watch it to the timer, come back to it. Because sitting down for the whole thing just doesn't seem possible with my current life. But I should get it watched.
It really deserves it. And you remember Robert Downey Jr., he won an Oscar.
You won an Oscar for it, yep.
And it's rightly deserved. It's a good role for him.
Val Kilmer never got an Oscar nominated. That's crazy to me.
Yep, it's crazy.
Boo.
Okay. So that's all we got this week.
What we got coming up next week?
So next week we'll be discussing Sinners, the latest from Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Following that, for the last week of April, we'll be discussing.
Just don't shave until then.
Yeah. Following that, in the last week of April, we'll be discussing The Accountant 2 and Until Dawn.
Yep. I did watch The Accountant finally.
You watched The Accountant finally?
I did. Yeah, it's really good. It's enjoyable as hell.
Yeah, super good, right?
Yeah. I went into it, I've never seen the trailer thinking that I was just generic like John Wick ripoff. And to an extent, sure. But it's got enough of its own charm to be worth watching. And I'm excited for the sequel now.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, because I feel like they've got a really good chance to dig into the relationship between those two. And I won't spoil it for anybody. Did you see that twist coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they lay it out pretty clearly that that's going to be the twist that happens.
At a certain point, you're just like, all right, there's no way that this has happened like this, where this doesn't connect, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be telling the story this way if this wasn't where it's going.
Exactly, yeah. But it's still fun. Like, yeah, it's a good time.
Sarah is very excited for The Accountant too.
Good.
She actually said that last night. She was like, I've seen the trailer for this a bunch of times and I'm really excited to go see it.
Awesome.
So yeah, so we're definitely going to check that out, and then I'm sure she will not go see Until Dawn. But you excited for that one?
I am. I'm cautiously optimistic. Yes, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's Sony, obviously, game to movie, and they're doing like a time reset thing, where in the game that's not really a thing in there, but it kind of has all the elements still from the game in there, like the Wendigos and
right, and they can kind of set it up to be like kind of like a video game.
Yeah,
you know, it's a mechanism that's not involved in the plot of the game, but you get that sort of replayability that a video game,
which I'm sure they're going for, because in the game there's a lot of different ways where you can screw up and kill the characters, and I'm sure that's kind of what they're going for. Is like, oh well, but do just the greatest hits from the video game deaths, and that's what they're going for, I'm sure. And it's a very interesting way to do it, and I hope they pull it off, because I enjoyed the game a lot. I suggested it to you to play a bunch of times.
Yes, you have. I have not.
No, it's all right. I honestly think I'm going to play through it at some point and let Holly make the choices to see if she gets into it. Because I did. I played the crap out of it, and I thought I did good enough to make it so all my characters lived to the end, but I screwed up something at some point, and one of them died. So I want to try that again. Yeah, I was all excited, and then all of a sudden he went to jump across a chasm and didn't make it. I'm like, what did I do wrong?
Cabin in the Woods style with Chris Hemsworth?
Kind of, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So I'm excited about both of those. I'm really excited about Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to try and catch that one Thursday night this week. Maybe do the Cinema Cafe if Sarah wants to go. I've been like begging her to go see this movie with me. I don't really think she's going to like it, but I think she's going to like a lot of aspects of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld. You know, it's got that cool like Western 1930s Southern charm to it. There's just so much to like about it.
Vampires.
Yeah, The vampires part specifically, I think, is what she's not going to like.
Yeah.
Because it does look bloody.
It does when it gets in there. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to see that. So yeah, we'll be talking about that in a week.
It debuted with like 100% around Tomatoes for a little bit. I don't know if it's still there, but
it was still there last time I checked, but I haven't checked since earlier yesterday, maybe.
It just feels like also like if it comes out and it does do as well as we're hoping it does, maybe Marvel will realize they kind of screwed the pooch on that one too.
You know, so Ryan Coogler had said that he's like, this is the most me movie I've done so far. Mm-hmm. He said the reason he did this now instead of Black Panther 3 is that he's done so many movies that weren't his. Like, he didn't write them. They were always somebody else's story. And he's like, in my heart, I'm a horror fan. Mm-hmm. He's like, my father, his favorite movie was The Thing.
No.
His second favorite movie was Halloween, you know. So he's talking all about, like, even with his parents, both of them, his mom and his dad were into horror movies. He's super into horror movies. He called out a bunch that he's really into. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be like his love letter to horror, and I'm really excited to see it.
I am too, yeah, really. Ever since the first trailer, I'm like, oh, that looks special. Yeah. It has that vibes, and I'm super pumped for it.
He said this is some of Michael B. Jordan's best acting that he's seen him do in this, and they've worked together on a lot of things.
They
so
have,
I'm
and
really excited for that.
Yeah, I am too. It's super pumped for it.
Cool. Well, join us again next week, and that's what we'll be talking about. We'll be gushing about that at length.
At length.
Yep. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you digest this sort of thing. And please follow me and the show on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at @BarkNight Podcast. Bye, Grabthar's Hammer. What an episode.